Hey guys, it's Cal. In this video, I'm going to be tiering and ranking all of the operators that are currently available in Tacticool. The criteria that I'll be tiering the operators on will be based on their meta relevance, usefulness, and fun, but to a lesser extent. Please keep in mind that these are my personal opinions for all of these operators. If there's an operator placement that you feel isn't proper, if it's too high, too low, that's fine. We can all have our opinions. I would love to hear what your thoughts are regarding the operators and their placements in the comments down below. I'm gonna try to do this video, in as few cuts as possible. So we'll see. I've never done anything like this, and God, I can't remember the last time someone in the community did a tier list. It was probably smooth when Miro and Chen Li were like the quote-unquote new operators. So it's been quite a while. It's been quite a while. So I'll try my best, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys do enjoy, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get this tier list underway. So I'm just gonna go in alphabetical order, which just kind of makes sense, I guess. So let's go. Alright, so our first operator will be Batya. So Batya is pretty interesting, I guess. So Batya, his new abilities with the operator rework are Adrenaline is activated automatically when at low health, cooldown of 10 seconds, and he also restores dodge when performing a melee attack. And they also gave him a boost to his melee reduction, so whereas previously I believe Batya had minus 65%, they bumped him up to minus 70% melee damage taken, as well as the improved dodge. So Batya is kind of like an amalgamation of Capisce and then this weird new adrenaline mechanic, which is pretty useful. I don't know, pretty useful. It's pretty interesting to say the least. If it functioned like Travis's boost mechanic with the adrenaline, but it doesn't, and if it didn't actually activate adrenaline, I think it'd be a little more useful. With Batya, you'll notice that his quote-unquote adrenaline, it's legitimately just an adrenaline. You'll have the purple arrow, purple hangover as well, so you can get tased from that. And nothing to your fault. You could just be low health. You pop the adrenaline, someone tases you, and then it's like, well shit. So I don't know how useful ultimately that is. And I'm just gonna say this ahead of time. Any of the operators that have a low health proc, if they reach a certain health level, I'm not gonna be the biggest fan of them, because overall their reliability is not the highest, at least in my opinion. I do think his dodge restoring when he performs a melee attack it definitely synergizes well with his kit, but unless you're Charon or Charon, I don't know how useful that'll be, because also he already has improved dodge. How much more dodges do you need? So because of all that, I don't know, I'll put Batya for the time being. We can always move people and not. I'll put him in B tier. B for Batya. Well, that's not how everything's gonna go, I swear. But B for Batya. That's how we're starting the tier. Let's move on. Now let's go on to Boris. So Boris, pretty simple rework. He throws C4. Plain and simple. That's cool. If I made this tier list maybe a week or two ago, honestly, the update was very recently where they patched out the Boris Capisce C4. If I made this a week ago, I would have arguably put him in A, S tier, but because of the nerf or the fixing, rework, whatever you want to call it, to Boris's C4 Capisce mechanic, I don't know how viable Boris is regarding just the meta. Definitely before, you could definitely make the argument that he was super not critical, but a very useful operator regarding meta. But for now, I think he's back to being relegated to definitely a fun operator. Don't get me wrong. Boris, so I remember the criteria I mentioned. Meta relevance, usefulness, and fun. Meta relevance and usefulness, yeah, throwing C4 is useful. It's, and meta relevance maybe not so much. Maybe more so if they remove the cooldown. But if they remove the cooldown, like, because those of you that haven't played Boris C4, the cooldown is crazy long. I think it's like it's almost equivalent to like just like a super weapon, like that level of waiting time. But fun, oh fuck, this thing's so fun, honestly. Even with that, without this Capisce C4, which, if you guys saw my video, that was great. That was fun as hell. But it definitely was never staying. Okay, those of you that think it was ever staying, it's never staying. Panzerdog did not want us to have that. I guess they don't want us to have fun, but I don't know. I'm just kidding. But all those considered, Boris is fun, but definitely not AS meta relevance. I hate to do this, but Boris is also going in B tier. Yeah. Because I personally like Boris a lot. So I don't think he's like C or D tier. D tier is like for your real shitters, And come to think of it, I'm just saying this now. I don't have any real idea of where I want to place them. Like whenever I get to an operator, that's what I'm going with. But starting off great, 2 operators straight into B tier. Batya, Boris. I bet you guys hate it already. All right, let's move on to Capisce, the masked man. So Capisce, his reworked abilities are that he melee attacks enemies while dodging, and he has improved dodge. So regarding the operator overhaul, I think Capisce actually took a hit from abilities. Like, yeah, it's cool. He gained being able to melee while dodging, which is super cool, super unique. Admittedly, I haven't played extensively with it because I don't really like Capisce. But also, I think it's just really, really interesting that you'll still be able to put out active damage while dodging. However, Capisce loses out because those of you that remember, it was super iconic with Capisce and Zloy, that and also the other guys, Mishka and Batya, that they had the reduced melee damage taken. Panzerdog took away Capisce's reduced melee damage taken, so while yes, you gain the ability to be active and deadly during your roll, and that could definitely, I've seen some examples of it. It could definitely be deadly and lethal. But the drawback is you no longer have your melee damage reduction. So I don't know what that really means ultimately in terms of survivability. It definitely, decreases your survivability for sure if you're doing a 1v1 knife fight. But and of course Capisce is not super relevant in the meta in my opinion, because mostly, like, if you ever use like any sort of improved dodge double roll op, it's gonna be Zloy. Because Zloy, in my opinion, is just more useful. But I'll get to Zloy's all the way back here, so we'll get to Zloy at the very end. But yeah, I don't really have any super strong opinions for him. But definitely, if you so I think honestly, Capisce goes into C tier. I hate myself for putting every op thus far in like their corresponding tier. But all jokes aside, Capisce is definitely under Batya in my opinion. Like, yeah, the Batya doesn't have the meleeing while dodging, but Batya, if you remember, he has the improved dodge still. In addition to the improved dodge, they're equal in that regards, But Batya has the melee damage reduction, which is more useful and very good for survivability. You could possibly have a niche role with Batya as a bag holder, very possibly. You can't get Charoned as easily, or Charon. I'm going to say Charon, okay? And I'm calling out a score right now, okay? I'm just kidding, love you. But I'm just going to say Charon because I don't want to say Charon all the time. Yeah, so Batya, in my opinion, is just way more useful than Capisce. That's why he gets the higher placing over Capisce. And I think you guys would agree with me on that too. I think that's all I really have to say about Capisce. Let's move on to Karen. Or Charon. Alright, so Charon, definitely, so our first epic operator, or formerly epic, they're not epic anymore, but, you know, our first epic operator. And, you know, with the operator overhaul, all of the epics pretty much, except for one being Snek, they remained untouched, which is cool, because epics were pretty good to begin with, so it probably won't, you know, it's justified that they are largely untouched. So yeah, Charon has, you know, plus 75 melee damage given, as well as his unique special of optic ammo. I personally like Charon a lot. He's very relevant in the meta. You know, it's like Charon's definitely if you lose the bag, your team loses the bag, a good Charon can just easily retake that bag if the enemies are not ready for it. But he does get nullified by things such as, you know, Diana, Miro T10, with it, you know, the T10 ability that allows you to see invisible operators. EMP also. EMP is crazy good and like super relevant in the meta. So any notable team will have at least a couple of EMPs to spam around. But of course, that is dependent on whether or not the EMPs fall within the range of a Charon. But, you know, nonetheless, EMPs have a crazy range, so that I think that'll be fine. And also, actually, Charons are quite susceptible to mind spam, but most operators are, so that's not really a point against or for Charon. But I do think because of like how strong EMPs are, as well as Miro's relevance, and any good team will have a Diana in most cases. Charon's definitely good. I don't think he's he's not C tier, obviously. He's not C tier. I'm not doing that. But I think I would definitely say he's better than, you know, Batya, Boris, because, you know, Batya, Boris still kind of like gimmicky to an extent. Batya could have like a niche role, like I said, with a bag holder because of his reduced. But I think Charon, I wouldn't say he's S tier, because like S tier is like super meta defining. Everyone plays that guy. But A tier, I think, is definitely a good placement for Charon. Actually, one thing I didn't even mention. Charon's also kind of talent dependent. If you have a T10 Charon, I would definitely say A tier, 100%. Still not S tier, unfortunately, as much as I like Charon and playing Charon. T10 Charon, A tier 100%, because the ability to near instantaneously cloak after getting a kill cannot be understated. However, if you don't have a T10 Charon, which I assume most people don't, but, you know, a fair amount of people also do. If you don't have a T10 Charon, then I would arguably put him in B tier, but like the best of B tier, or depends on who else we get possibly in B tier, just because you don't have access to that instant kill, cloak, repeat. And if you guys have never played against someone that abused it, it is crazy. So, like, it's hard to play against. But for now, I think Charon first A tier. I think that's pretty fair. God, I don't know how long this video is going to go. I'm just rambling here. I hope you guys enjoy. I don't know. Let's move on. You already know who this bitch is. Chen Li. So Chen Li, you know, also like all the other epics, not touched during the operator overhaul ability rework, yada yada. So Chen Li deflects all bullets back. Landau, she has a special ability, the Landau field, which the health of the Landau field is 30% of her max health. The EMP blast radius that triggers when you deplete the Landau field's health is about 12 meters. And her unique special is the Landau cannon. What can I say about Chen Li? I don't know. We all know she's like crazy good, and it's just ridiculous playing against Chen Li sometimes. And it's just really frustrating, to say the least. Obviously, she's meta relevant. Obviously, she's useful. Fun? I don't know. that's actually kind of, for me, like, she's not fun. It's like, if I'm playing Chen Li, I feel gross, you know. But you know, definitely can't be understated her meta relevance, and I wasn't sure how to tackle usefulness, but I think usefulness I can also branch out and expand to like the availability of like what kind of loadouts she can use, because you know how some operators can only use certain loadouts. Chen Li, in my opinion, can use nearly anything, because that's how useful she is as an operator. You know, you can run, although it's not as popular anymore, like Chen Li SMG, then like, I don't know, like MD Laymore, MD Landau, or you can run double Landau, which is super popular, super annoying, and every time I run against Chen Li's, or every time I play area TDM, I always end up playing like freaking 5 Chen Li's with double Landau cannon. It's like a big middle finger from Panzerdog, which, thank you, by the way. Thank you for making that map. But yeah, and you can also run it like super aggressive with Chen Li too, with like Adrenaline Roto. Just Chen Li's like super versatile, super good. It definitely is a counterplay to like heavy Adrenaline users, which is very frustrating as someone who likes playing Adrenaline a lot, and I'm sure like many of you can also attest. But you know, Panzerdog did have some foresight, or when they created the EMP. It definitely ensures that Chen Li can't run around so willy-nilly. You know, can't just go around like stomping all of us. But it's not like the end-all be-all to Chen. Like, you know, when EMP came out, we all thought, oh, this is the Chen killer. Yeah, no, that was no. Just the Chen players quickly adapted. They just ran Landau on pretty much everything, not cannon, but Landau emitter. And you reaction to the EMP that comes your way, you send it away, and then you're good. And some people I even see play Chen Li with EMP as well to counter other Chen Li's, which is, you know, also very viable, because even Chen Li players hate Chen Li. So, you know, because of all this, you already know where she's going. She's the first entrance into S tier. I think you guys would not disagree with that. If I'm being biased because of Chen Li hate, I could put her in A tier, but like saying that is in the same tier as like she can be in the same tier as Charon, which I don't know. I definitely think Chen Li's better than Charon. Yeah. Hey, something I forgot to mention with Charon too. I think if I had an A-B tier, I would definitely put him between that, because those of you who played... Sorry, quick tangent about Charon. I'm sorry. Should have mentioned this earlier. Panzerdog needs to fix this. Charon has this weird, stupid glitch, I think, where you'll decloak, you'll melee someone, but the melee just goes straight through them. It doesn't do any damage, you just whiff, you just swing and miss, and it's the worst thing, and it more than often gets you killed. So, definitely solidifies Charon's place in A tier, because he's still really useful, but I would argue putting him between A and B tier because of that glitch until Panzerdog fixes him. But, you know, whatever. Digress. Moving on. Yeah, Chen Li, S tier. I don't think you guys would disagree. If you guys do disagree, let me know in the comments. So what is that? 5 operators. We are 1/6 of the way done. Let's move on to David. So, David, you know, also hasn't been changed, but I don't think he needed the change. David's was pretty useful before. You know, so his abilities are 100% clip capacity and reload speed, as well as RPGs. If equipped, he gets 1 additional rocket. So, you know, the RPGs, that's fun. You can get double RPG for some shenanigans, or if your name is Chip, you can kill me with twice the amount of RPGs. But definitely David's biggest area for use is that 100% clip capacity as well as reload speed. What most high-level David players and just gameplay would revolve around is using David as injector support. Very, very good injector support, if I might add. It was very prevalent in the most recent Phoenix, and even just now, I'll see like tons of like David players, dedicated David players. Uh, uh, they'll just be injector support for the teammates because injector is just super powerful. That's why Panzerdog, when they originally released injector, you had that the 10, 15 whatever second cooldown for one boost. But not now. You could do this originally too, but if you pair it with David, oh my god, like the 100% reload speed too, it's so fast. You can keep everyone on your team boosted pretty much indefinitely if you're good on the timing. And actually, I think something with the operator overhaul, I think David actually benefited quite a lot because of all of the health normalization. David definitely is much more viable on a competitive level because you can upgrade them to an equivalent of an epic tier of health. Sorry. So I haven't done much with that yet, but if you guys want to see more like David-centric gameplay, I know my buddy Pure, he did a David injector support gameplay recently. You guys should check that out after this video, of course. But with all that in mind, I don't really know like other loadouts that he could run. I think it's pretty much just the injector support. Yeah, it's the one, so he's not as useful, but it's a really useful loadout though. So because of that, I don't know. I'm putting David in A tier, and also something in case it wasn't super prevalent before. So the S through D tiers, or D through S tiers, whatever. Obviously, the higher up, the better. But something I'll probably do after the fact, that after all 30 of these guys have been ranked and tiered, I'm also going to do an intra thing rank as well. So the closer to the left you are on the whatever tier is it's better, So I don't know. We'll try to. This video's a mess. Okay. I don't know if that came off properly. So basically, yeah, so there are all these tiers, but then within the tier itself, the further left you are, the quote-unquote better you are, so we'll try to do that as well, but I'll do that after the fact. So yeah, David, A tier. That might be a bit high for some people, and I do think so as well, but I think the amount of support and benefit you can get from David Injector support is crazy, especially if you have a competent team that can use the injector support, sponge damage, take out enemies with the injector support. It's crazy powerful. It has the potential to be game changing. Let's move on. So, Diana. Diana reveals explosives, reveals enemies. Her unique special is the UAV, which is the pulsating rays that come out of her that reveals, like I said, reveals explosives, reveals enemies. It's pretty much it. Pretty simple, but Diana always useful, like fantastic support. Highlights mines for your team. That way, if they need to like get a bag back, or just in general, just highlighting mines so people don't walk into them, because explosives forever remain like incredibly powerful. And if you run into a team that just spams the shit out of them, if you're not prepared with like EMPs or Diana or Moses kinda to sponge the damage, you can't even break it. It's crazy. So that Diana's usefulness in that regard, it cannot be understated as well. Diana also is quite versatile regarding how she plays. You can play like full 2 drones with MD support, ideally from your team, or 1 drone, 1 MD if you want to be kind of like a independent Diana, do it yourself. Or you can even go like mobile Diana, which is still a very valid strategy to use as well. I know some people really probably get tunnel visioned into just using your drones, but mobile Diana, if you haven't played it before, it's definitely a good loadout as well. especially if you want to stick closer with your team and just give them that sort of like passive support of like, you know, not getting Charoned or like just highlighting mines, etc. Definitely a very useful operator. I don't personally play Diana that much, but I know from experience, because I am more of a Charon player, going up against a good Diana, one that knows how to move with their team and like highlight and find Charons, it is so annoying, and it pretty much kills Charon for me. So because of that, I would have to put Diana higher. Oh, what the hell? Let me put him higher. I'll put Diana higher than Charon, obviously. In A tier. I don't know if I'll put any epics in like the lower tiers, because like lower tier being like under A tier. We could. There's possible arguments. Actually, I'm thinking of one now that I could possibly, but we'll get to that when we get down the line. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to say about Diana? It's like, you know, very good support. Highlights things. Drone's pretty good. There is the possibility for Diana to, and this is all speculation at this point too, which is, I think, is fun. But there is the possibility for Diana to perhaps move up to S tier, maybe, if in the future Panzerdog releases additional drones, such as, like, I don't know, smoke, or, oh, God forbid, flash. Listen, no one wants that. We don't want that. Panzerdog, if you're listening, we don't want this, okay? No one wants flash drones. But if Panzerdog ever goes off the deep end and releases it, because we all know how strong flash is, and we'll definitely get to Miro later on. Yeah, definitely could go to S tier. Actually, I'm just realizing I'm not talking that much about talents, but I should, sorry. Especially for epics. I think even with talents included, Diana in A tier, pretty solid, I believe. So, yeah. Let's move on to Dutch. So Dutch, the OG, everyone's OG, the main man, the killer. The operator overhaul, in my opinion, has given Dutch some new life. I think he's definitely more viable than he's been in the past year or so. Because you guys remember when they nerfed the shit out of his health for whatever reason, just a big middle finger to Dutch. Just a big middle finger to Dutch, and they reduced his health, so he was a lot squishier, so he wasn't able to tank as much damage, especially compared to, like, you know, the Moseses, the Chens. It was really hard to compete sometimes. Of course, some people, that's not to say that he was unviable. You know, plenty of people made him viable, plenty of people made it work. But yeah, those of you that maybe don't know, plus 35 fire rate, plus 35 clip capacity, and of course he has his big boy rockets, the RTFM. What else to say about him? You know, it's like when the talents came out for Dutch, it was a really big introduction. It was a big improvement to his rockets, because at the time that the talents came out, I believe, MD spam was super crazy. You have to take into account, I don't think at the time we had EMPs, so MD spam was super strong, super crazy, and it was just, if a team set up so many MDs, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't break through. So Panzerdog allowed for Dutch's rockets to bypass MD, which even now, because it's still like really, really useful, because it really catches people off guard, and it definitely can snag you the bag back if placed correctly. Those of you that don't know as well, Dutch can also mimic injector support, just like David can. So I know he only gets plus 35 clip capacity, but if you couple that with his talent, the clip capacity talent, you're actually able to get 2 injector shots before it has to reload. So it effectively does the same thing as David. And in my opinion, Dutch is also A tier. Not quite S tier because he's, it's still really good, but he's not like in the upper echelon in my opinion. Some people would definitely disagree, especially the big Dutch fanboys, but I think this is a fair placement, especially Dutch being ahead of David, because in my personal opinion, Dutch just has much more kill potential than David does, because David is pretty much relegated to injector support and then whatever you wish to run on David, like weapon wise, which I think more often than not will be like XL20, because couple the XL20 with David's reload speed, killer combo. But Dutch still has versatility in that he can run Roto, okay, Roto, EMP, or I don't know, Roto and Roto Shield with like Dirty Anton or Pistol, which I wouldn't prefer as much because then you lose out on the injector support. But or Frustrate. You can run Frustrate on Dutch as well, get that boosted vision range as well as just the support, supporting your teammates in that regard by popping Chen Li's from afar. That's also really good. But yeah, I think Dutch's usefulness, and in my opinion, definitely comes from his ability to also be an injector support type player. And because of that, I would definitely put him ahead of David on A tier. Arguably amongst these 3 epics, I don't know, because I think Dutch definitely has more kill potential than Charon. Well, definitely kills Diana outright if played just correctly. Charon, if you get the drop on Dutch, could be hard for the Dutch to counter. Honestly, yeah, I'll put Dutch ahead. Yeah, Dutch A tier, king of A tier thus far. I think that'll be pretty decent. All right, let's move on. Ooh, the first operator to really receive some like crazy buffs. So Hawk. So Hawk has, well, let's start with the negatives. Minus 30% accuracy. So that's not great. That's kind of big actually. But he gets a disgusting plus 60% fire rate. That is insane. If you guys just remember back to Dutch, is how fitting he's right after Dutch. Dutch plus 35 fire rate, and OG players and even new players, you can attest. Dutch's fire rate is crazy. Okay, so 35%, but like Hawk 60%. Oh my God, it's just he goes through bullets like no one's business. It is insane how much lead he throws downrange. But sometimes, obviously because of the accuracy, he just kind of throws the bullets down without really doing much. I haven't played with him extensively since I did my XO300 video, but speaking of XO300, in my personal opinion, I think it's definitely one of the better things you can run on Hawk, because like I discussed in my video, I think Hawk, for whatever reason, if you equip him on the XO300, it almost feels like the accuracy is like the accuracy dropped the minus 30%. It's not there almost. Like the XO300 is just a freaking laser coupled with his plus 60% fire rate. It's just, oh God, you can shred through people. Other loadouts that I've seen people play, which are still very good as well, Hawk AR, either the VFX or ARX, whatever it's called right now, or the Cult M. Those are both fantastic options. I'm more partial to the Cult M because I just like that better, but some of you OG players would probably prefer the, I'm just going to call it the ARX. Both of those are fantastic options as well. And if you land your shots, if you're close enough range, you land your shots, you can really like get some fast time to kills, especially with the Cult M. Other loadouts that I think aren't necessarily as good, MM66 on Hawk could be good, especially the fire rate plus the damage ability. of the MM66, but the accuracy is definitely killing you there. So I think if you want to go like a roto route, like a machine gun route, go the roto, or XL300 if you can. And the final ones too, like I've seen people run like the snipers with him, like AW or Frustrate. Those are also pretty good, but snipers are kind of like predicated on their accuracy, and when you take away some accuracy from Hawk, it gets a little inconsistent. Hawk doesn't really have, Hawk doesn't have a unique T6 or T10, which is very disappointing too. But hopefully in the future, Hawk, as well as any the additional operators, the commons, uncommons, and rares, get unique T6, T10s. Then we can perhaps rework this tier list. But for the time being, I think Hawk, useful, useful fire rate, crazy kill potential. But other than that, he's just kind of like a Dutch, but without the good injector support. So because of that, he's not C tier, because the Hawk 100% better than Capisce. I wouldn't put him in A tier, definitely not, but I think B tier, like the highest of B tier thus far, I think that's fair, because he doesn't have some of the tools that would make him useful like an epic, and in my opinion, I think David just as an operator is more useful, so I think that's fair. I think so. Alright, let's move on to Jason. So Jason is also another very interesting operator. With the rework, Jason, our boy, received restores dodge when killing an enemy, and he reloads when dodging. So those two abilities synergize incredibly well with one another. So, and as you can see, he's currently posed with the XL20. Panzerdog's not being subtle. They're just telling you straight up what to play with him. Jason, his niche will be this ridiculous XL20 abuser in the right scenario. So basically the theory would be you run up to an enemy, pop your XL20. Ideally, you get a kill with that XL20. When you get the kill, you dodge. When you dodge, you instantaneously reload. You can get more kills with the fresh mag, or the fresh shells that you just magically thrown back into your barrel, and then you can continuously pop, dodge, reload, pop, dodge, reload. The only issue is it is hard to set up, but if you can get it set up, wow, it has, like, Jason has the potential to be like devastating. I haven't seen it yet, but I assume you could, in the right scenario being like no Miro flash, no shields, I guess, no Chens. Oh, what a world that would be. Anyways, yeah, in the right scenario, you could definitely throw out crazy amounts of damage with Jason. And I think he definitely has very good potential to be really good. The only issue is most people don't have him super high leveled yet. But in terms of meta usefulness, I don't know. He could be. It definitely could be. Maybe like a bag supporter, like that'd be terrifying. Imagine like you have it on like a Zloy shield or a Moses shield, and you have a partner with you. Your partner's a freaking Jason XL20, maxed Jason XL20, and he's just rolling, shooting XL20, rolling, shooting XL20, and just being the bane of your existence. I could definitely see Jason being really good once people get him higher up. If you guys want a good example of like the potential of Jason, I think back to back he posted a video recently of Jason XL20. It was very good. I'll leave it in the description as well. But yeah, for Jason, I think think I'll also put him in B tier. In my opinion, like, because the limited loadouts that you can run on Jason, it's pretty much just XL20. You can try other stuff too if you want to be a madman. When the operator overhaul first came out, I wanted to possibly experiment with Jason MGL. That's some hot garbage, but like it could work, I guess. I don't know. But pretty much, if you're going to run Jason, you're going to be running XL20. Anything else, you're just kind of maybe memeing around. You're trying out stuff, but I think XL20 is the way to go. But because he's sort of relegated to one specific loadout, whereas Hawk can play perhaps multiple loadouts, that's where he edges out in usefulness. And I think, yeah, Jason, B tier, not bad. Oh boy, here we go. Let's move on. JB. So JB, like all the other epics thus far, have been untouched with the operator overhaul. You know, his abilities remain as such: minus 35% bullet spread, plus 60% weapon switch speed. He has a tactical reload ability where the inactive weapon automatically reloads with 40% speed, and he uses 2 primaries. Boy, what can I say? What can I not say about JB? JB's everyone's boy. He is so useful, so versatile. He is like the best killing machine in the game, hands down. And because he uses 2 primaries, like his versatility. Well, this is what I like. His versatility is just off the charts. Like you can play pretty much anything you want with him, anything and everything. You know, I've seen. You know, you'll see this. The most standard loadout, I'm sure all of you have seen, is the freaking JB Frustrate, and then probably like XL20 or UU10, depends on preference. That is like the meta loadout, okay? My god, everyone plays that loadout. It is gross, but it's good. You know, it's meta for a reason, because it's good. Annoying is a maybe, but like you know, you can also play JB more classically. You know, if you don't want to run Frustrate, you can also still run like MM66 or Rotogun. Those are still absolutely killer on JB. Or even things like AR, you know, via ARX or Colt M. Those are still solid options on him as well. And honestly, like JB's strength just comes in his versatility. He can pretty much use any weapon and it'll be good. Like there's not really any bad weapon combos, I think. There might be some, but you can possibly even argue for any of them. I know some of you guys meme around with me, say like, "Oh, run like JB double roto or JB double SMG or some stupid things like that." I know that's a joke, but you know, like those I could see possibly working in some regard as well. I've even seen like some crazy people like, I don't know, like Rex from XM, I think, SM, sorry. Rex runs like fucking, I think, Roto and MGL is crazy, but it's a very unique loadout. But that's like the beauty of JB. You can just run unique loadouts, and it's just awesome. JB's talents, I don't think they're anything special or anything for that matter. Like he gets fire rate T6, that's just standard, and then you can run like the, you know, the practical equipment or the good genetics. Good genetics as a whole, I just want to say a quick rant. They need to improve that. They should maybe make it more widespread for people and also improve it significantly. You know, if they want to try to implement some sort of flash counterplay, just improve good genetics, okay? Fuck this 35% or 25% for other operators receive negative effects duration. Make it like 50% or 60%, okay? Because flash and other statuses are still so strong. Like, even if you equip those things, it's kind of negligible. But yeah, tangent over, back to JB. What else do I say about JB? Can't really think of anything else. I guess all I could say is, if you're not playing, and I don't want to encourage this, but if you're not playing JB Frustrate, you're kind of wrong. Not really, no. Like the Roto's loadouts and even the AR loadouts, those are still super good, super viable. But basically, there's almost no wrong way to play JB, which is amazing. It's so beautiful. So because of that, JB, our boy, I'm putting him ahead of Chen Li. I'm putting him ahead of Chen Li because like good JB players will be able to nullify any Chen Li. Actually, matter of fact, the frustrate loadout that I said before, which again, don't spam it. I hate seeing it. Don't do it. But the frustrate loadout almost kind of counters Chen Li because you keep your distance at such a range, and it's basically just one, maybe two shots if you miss your shot, but with JB's accuracy or the reduced weapon spread, you're not gonna miss. One shot from the frustrate, you immediately pop her shield, and oh look, she's still so far away, you can just pop her, and if she gets anywhere close to you, come around and find out, I'll pop you with this XL20. So I think just because of that alone, 100% JB is ahead of Chen Li, if played properly, of course. That's all I really have to say about JB. I believe so. Alright, let's move on to Joe. So, Joe is definitely a big loser from the operator overhaul rework, I believe, in my opinion. So, Joe's new talents and abilities are that he has increased rate of fire when close to an enemy, as well as he... this is so... why do they do this? He has 50% less melee damage given. So that's not the same as Batya or Mishka, or I think Mishka has it. I think that's not the same thing as Batya, where he has the minus 70% damage taken. No. Joe, if he knifes someone, he just does 50% less damage. Like, why? Why? It's pointless. He just fucked Joe for no reason. But other than that, it's cool, I guess, like the increased rate of fire when close to an enemy. I know some people were theorizing, like, okay, maybe like with shotguns getting them up close, but I'm sure you guys are noticing right now, those of you that played beforehand and maybe really like Joe doesn't have his reduced weapon spread anymore, like JB. Like, whereas Joe used to be like a baby JB, he's not anymore. He's lost what made him like arguably very good, like the reduced weapon spread, making like Roto, especially way back then, those of you remember, like JB Roto used to be crazy. It went so hard, okay? But now he doesn't have that, and I think Joe has lost a fair amount of his usability. Again, admittedly, I haven't played much, if at all, much with Joe. So I can't attest to the overall usefulness of the increased fire rate when close to an enemy, but I think just on the surface level, like, because you have to get close to an enemy to begin with to even like proc that increased fire rate, it's not as good. Because, like, okay, think of it this way: you run into a Chen. Okay, how do you want to close the distance, get closer? You want to adrenaline, but you're with a Chen. So I guess you could EMP adrenaline, get really close, but I don't know. Joe's like, he doesn't have the increased melee, he doesn't have the increased accuracy, so it's not like you could, like, I don't know. I don't know. So if any of you guys have a good way to possibly use Joe, like, legitimately, not just like, oh, you forgot this, you can just like some ridiculous setup, but I don't know. I don't really have much to say about Joe. I think he lost out quite a bit because of losing the accuracy or weapon spread, and the fire rate is a bit inconsistent. Plus just a big middle finger with the melee damage. I think all of that combined, God. Do I put... Is Joe our first D tier? Let me review. I just gotta remember, what was Capisce's? I think I value Capisce's skill set better than Joe, and in my opinion, because like Joe is one of the few operators that received negative stuff too. Like, you know, whereas Hawk received minus accuracy, you can still work around that. But the minus damage too, that's just like killing another way to possibly give him a kill potentials. So, as much as I hate to say it, I think Joe is our first D tier. He's come so far, he's like fallen so far from like where he like originally sort of used to be. Like, you know, think before JB. Like Joe was our main boy, accurate as fuck. Okay, but he's lost that. Can't melee for anyone. Has to play extreme CQC just to get anything possibly done. Maybe C tier. I think D tier is a bit harsh, but that's where I'm gonna put him. If you guys disagree, once again, let me know in the comments. I don't really have much else to say about Joe, so let's move on. Who the hell is that? Oh, it's Klaus. Alright, Klaus. Now, I think Klaus is super interesting. I'm actually a really big fan of what they gave to him. So, Klaus has the increased movement speed when close to an enemy, as well as plus 100% melee attack speed. So those of you that haven't like played around and just like played around with Klaus just quite yet, his attack speed actually goes crazy, like the melee attack speed. And it synergizes very well with his first ability, the increased movement speed when close to an enemy. So basically, as you close the gap, you're just getting like what I assume is like a mini, almost adrenaline speed. But what's beneficial about this one is it doesn't pop, quote unquote, adrenaline like say your Batya. So you can't get tased, or you know, it won't affect you as much. The only drawback with Klaus, I think, is I don't know, like it's hard to close in that gap. And again, like, yeah, cool. I think it's awesome that Klaus has like this melee centric build, but again, he's not Charon, so he doesn't have the benefit of like a stealthy optic ammo. So how are you gonna close the gap? Smoke? Are we doing this strategy again? Like, are we doing like everyone's original strategy of like Zloy, smoke, gas, melee the bots in the smoke? I just don't know how useful and viable Klaus is in that regard. I don't think he's super relevant in the meta. I think he's fun, don't get me wrong. I think his abilities synergize wonderfully with one another. But the biggest issue would be, like, again, how do you close the gap? Like, you have to kill enemies, and that way you can view... You have to close the gap from the enemies, so you can melee them. And ideally, you melee them with, you know, your increased melee speed. So you're going to want adrenaline. Adrenaline to close the initial gap, and then you can probably make up the rest with his ability, the increased movement speed when close to an enemy. But once you get there, there's so many things that can mess with you, you know. Land out if you do go the smoke route. You know, shields, Zloy, or Batya if you happen to run into a Batya with the melee reduction thing. He doesn't even have like additional melee damage, I think. No, he does at talent 8, but you know, you have to invest orange mods into that, so like, I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Klaus, I think he has potential to be fun, and this would be kind of broken maybe if they gave him optic ammo as well, then maybe he would definitely be better. But then he might just be like a somewhat... He would just be a Charon clone type, you know. Not really, because he has the increased melee speed. Because of that... God, where do I put him? He's not B tier. He's not as good as Hawk or Jason or Boris or Batya for that matter, I think. He does have potential. Um, I'm gonna put him in D tier because I think he's not in C tier. Because like with Capisce, like Capisce's melee while dodging, like that's not his main gimmick. You know, you can still just play Capisce straight up. You know, I know some people play Capisce like religiously, like what's his name? AJ the Owl. He plays Capisce, I think, religiously. It's kind of funny, but you know, whereas that is passive and it's not his main gimmick. Klaus, like, what else are you gonna do on Klaus? Like, that's kind of his main gimmick, the meleeing. Maybe C tier. Is he better than Joe? Honestly, I think I would. Okay, so like, there's also a class of Klaus, Joe. They're also within like a class of operators that have this weird thing. So when you get close to with proximity to an enemy, and then your ability triggers, I think this is better. Increase movement speed. No, I'm putting that there. Yeah, D tier, 100%. Now, question is he better than Joe? Just really slow. Increase fire rate. Honestly, I think Klaus maybe edges out Joe, in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of the any of the proximity abilities, but I think Klaus's abilities just synergize better with each other, and Joe just straight up just has a middle finger of an ability. So I'm sorry, Joe. Let's move on. Oh boy, I bet you guys are waiting for him. So next up we have Miro. Again, what else do I have to say about Miro? Everyone hates Miro. Well, I don't know if everyone hates Miro. Everyone hates Flash. And I'm gonna debate with myself right now whether I want to rank Miro in accordance with Flash, or if I want to rank Miro just as the operator itself. I think I'll do it because I'm also taking into account meta relevance. I think I'll do it in accordance with Flash as opposed to just the operator. Because let's be honest, if you just did the operator and if Flash wasn't a thing, Miro wouldn't be as good. But because of Flash and his immunity to Flash, I think that's what really just propels him. But we'll get to that. So yeah, Miro, immune to blindness, has thermal vision, which means he can see through smoke and shoot through smoke. Flash grenades, he gets +1 flash grenade, plus 20% increased explosion radius, and inflicts bleeding damage. So yeah, Miro, let's just get this out of the way first. Miro, 100% S tier. Better than Chen, honestly. 100% better than Chen. Better than JB, honestly. Probably, yeah, too. But let's talk about it. Again, if it was Miro by himself, probably not the best, because, you know, well, no, Smoke has a lot of counterplays to it, but Smoke is very strong too if your team is not ready for it. It can be like crazy to go against, especially if you don't have Landaus or at the very least EMPs to stop the Miro. But where Miro shines is the Flash grenade. Flash is so incredibly powerful in this game. It is broken. It is like the most debilitating thing you could inflict onto someone because it just lasts so long. Like, you don't even have to get the Flash. It doesn't even have to be on top of them. It could just be within their vicinity. Your back could be turned to the Flash, and you get flashed. And like, if you barely get flashed, hell, you could get flashed still for like 3 seconds. 3 seconds is more than enough to put you down, you know, and that is crazy. Of course, Panzerdog had to do a quick fix for the flash grenades. Like, oh, like the previous update, they quote unquote broke Miro because, oh, instead of having 3 flash grenades, I have 2 flash grenades. I'm a scrub and I can't get a kill if I can't throw 3 flash grenades at someone first. If you're one of those people, no offense, but you're kind of... Anyways. Yeah, the flash is just incredibly annoying. The increased explosion radius too with the flash, just, you know, flash crazy strong, but increase that like area of effect is even better. And the bleed damage. Those of you that maybe saw my funny moments video when I was playing Chen Li, you guys will remember how insane Miro bleed damage is. I was hit with 2 flash grenades. The player that threw the flash grenades did not touch me with a single bullet, and 75% of my health was deleted. That is insane. That is so, like, flash grenade is so strong on Miro, especially because of the increased all that yada yada blah blah blah, the bleed damage as well, because it's so non-committal, and you could just throw it, and you get so much plus just from throwing it within their general vicinity. It's ridiculous. And I don't want to harp too much about Miro because this is not a Miro rant video, but I'm sure none of you would disagree that Miro, top of S tier, in my opinion, for the time being. Because, like, think of it, Miro nullifies JB, Miro nullifies Chen if he's running, like, EMP Flash. Doesn't even need to run EMP, just run Flash, and then you're kind of good. Alright, digress. This isn't going to be a Miro rant video. And I didn't even mention all of his other talents and abilities and shit too. Like, you can make the flashes even stronger. But okay, again, moving on. Everyone knows. I don't have to say it. All right, Mishka. It feels like forever since we did a common operator. So Mishka, I don't know how to feel about Mishka. He's pretty interesting. Like, so his reworked ability is that he got plus 25 crouched fire rate and movement speed. So basically, those of you that played Snek before the operator overhaul, yada yada, Snek also had, I believe it was plus 15% crouched fire rate, movement speed, which is cool. That was a T6 ability, but they just gave Mishka a straight up upgrade over that, and that's it. Plus 25 crouched fire rate and movement speed, which I think has the potential to be really good if you obviously pair it with like AW. I think it'll definitely has some potential in that regard, being able to do like a support sniper type role. I don't know how much of that would be able to overcome any potential, like, you know, if you go against a Snek, I don't know if you win a 1v1, like Snek sniper, Mishka sniper, assuming all levels equal, talents, etc. Because Snek has the increased aim speed, he still wins out. And you might still lose out, if you're Mishka, you might still lose out to other operators too, such as JB or Dutch sniper. Dutch has the superior fire rate. Hell, even Hawk sniper. Just overall, I think it's a little lackluster, Mishka's you know, his abilities, but you know, I don't really know what else to say about Mishka's stuff. I think he could be alright, but like his ceiling is not crazy high. Like Mishka, I wouldn't put him in B tier because I think all of these operators are definitely better than him. Hawk, 100%. Jason, yes. Batya, yeah, definitely could be. Boris, he's just fun. Boris is fun king, okay? Whereas Mishka, as you guys know, he used to be in like the same sort of like line as like Capisce and Batya. And I think he'll belong in the same tier as Capisce because he also lost out on the decreased melee damage. You know, with the decreased melee damage, you can always make the argument for the possibility of any of them being like a bag holder because you were less likely to get Charoned. Whereas now Mishka is just like this odd support sniper type thing, but he's not as good because he doesn't have any additional aim speed. His fire rate is only active when he's crouched, so he's only really relegated to AW. Or maybe if you want to be a madman and run like rotogun and then just crouch, like kind of like Snek does too. But other than that, I don't really know what else you would run on him. Yeah, I think Mishka C tier is pretty fair. Yeah, I believe so. Give me 1 second. Alright guys, sorry about that. I just had to check. Oh god, I had to check, make sure I was recording, first of all. Because I would have been so freaking pissed if I did all that talking and no, it wasn't recording. But I just looked at the first half of the recording and oh my god, I've been talking for like an hour plus. So I'm going to try to speed up the things and try to ramble not as much, otherwise this video is going to be god long. So let's go. Alright, moving on. Moses. I'm just going to start with the tier. Obvious S tier. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think anyone's going to overtake Miro, because Miro just has the potential, to just be the most broken up, I think, in my opinion. But Moses is definitely not that far behind. You can argue possibly the best. Honestly, it's almost like a 1A, 1B, you know, pretty much there. Now, Moses, minus 60% melee, explosive damage taken. Extra health on taking lethal damage, which means when a normal operator would die, Moses in fact goes into an afterlife mode that lasts for 5 seconds, which can be boosted the time duration with talents, and his unique special is the Stronghold Shield. The Stronghold Shield is just basically a better and improved version of the regular tactical shield. You have less damage taken, you have a flash component built into the shield, which is stupid, but you know, it's great. But yeah, so the reason why I say 1A, 1B is because if you get a team or teammates, perhaps if you pair it with Dutch or David or just any competent injector on your team, if you inject Moses, especially if he's running shield, you're not killing him. Just straight up, you are not killing him, okay? If you have a competent Moses shield or just a Moses player and that's getting properly injected, that dude's not dying. He is just straight up not dying. He has the potential just to be the most broken thing, and we have all discussed this before, where because all of the operators have had their health normalized, because Moses has the afterlife ability, which effectively doubles his HP, not even including injector prolonging his life, it effectively doubles his HP. So Moses has the capacity and the ability to just kill anyone in a 1v1, at the minimum a trade. So he's crazy in that regard. But again, I would still say that Miro is better. Again, that's my opinion. I'm going to try to speed this along. I'm sorry, guys. Moving on. Phoenix. D tier. Next. No. Okay, Phoenix. What a disappointment Phoenix was, guys. I don't know. For me personally, and I know Sabo is going to spam me in my DMs or whatever. Phoenix smoke EMP. Phoenix smoke EMP. It's like, okay, fine. That might be an okay class, but like, I just think Phoenix was such a disappointment, man. Like, he could have been so cool. His designs based off Bruce Lee, it's just so cool. But the operator itself is underwhelming. But like, if you read all of his abilities, awesome abilities. Minus 90% damage taken from his own explosives, cool. Minus 20% grenade throw cooldown time, also cool. Drops one of each equipped grenade upon death, that's cool. A martyrdom, basically. And he's the first epic operator, or first operator, hopefully, to have a third special. It is a little unfortunate that you are stuck using that. I think if Phoenix didn't have that restriction of being forced to use the cluster bomb, I think it would be way better. I think Phoenix just overall would be way better. But unfortunately, and probably better for the game health, that Phoenix was forced to do that. But I think how Phoenix could have been much more useful, was if the 90%, hell, fine, take away some of the damage, explosive damage. Maybe if it was like 70, 75, hell, even 60, like a Moses, but you also made him like immune or less immune to friendly explosives. I think that would be crazy. okay, but maybe a little broken. But overall, like, Phoenix is just not that useful in my opinion. Like, the only real good loadouts that I've seen people run are possibly like Phoenix MGL, Phoenix C4, Suicide C4, which is fine too. But where Phoenix lacks in the Suicide C4 department, because he doesn't have the afterlife like Moses, so he doesn't have the cushion of sponging damage while in afterlife, and you end up just like dying before you can even put down the C4. So in my opinion, okay, D tier maybe not. Well, actually, honestly, I think Phoenix, just because he's an epic, he'll go ahead of Klaus and Joe. This is probably one of the harshest ones too, in my opinion. But I think you could maybe argue C tier, but I'm putting Phoenix in D tier. I just don't like Phoenix. I don't think he's that useful or relevant, honestly. Yeah, D tier, 100%. Moving on. And we got Ray. Ray is awesome, okay? Ray is one of the better, definitely of the newest operators we were given, Ray Phoenix. Ray is hands down better than Phoenix. Don't at me, okay? So she has a stealth ability that replaces dodge. For 2 seconds, you grant invisibility along with a 15% movement speed and attack speed boost. So it's the same thing as like when Charon decloaks. Her super weapon is the holographic decoy, which is meh. It's fun and it can definitely catch people off guard. But if you're an experienced player, you won't really get caught off guard too much by it. Even the explosive decoy, like, it's not that great. But I think Ray definitely comes into her own when she gets more like T6, T10. I believe it's T6 specifically where you get the health boost upon cloaking. That health boost alone makes Ray's survivability stupid. It makes her stupid survivable. Gives her stupid survivability. If you inflict any sort of quote-unquote lethal damage, or like not lethal damage, but like put her under a certain amount of health, which usually one XL20 shot will probably do that, and then she'll immediately cloak for 2 seconds, regain her health, and then she can probably pop you right back with XL20. She has the ability to be devastating, okay, with her with the cloak ability and regaining health. The only issue is, in my opinion, is Ray is hyper susceptible to EMPs. And because her stealth replaces dodge, oh boy, if you get EMP'd, you're just shit out of luck. No roll, no nothing. You can't even like regain health back or anything of that sort. You're just kind of out there, That's not going to impact her too much because pretty much any, it's like Chen Li as well. Am I gonna dock Chen Li because EMP exists? No, but because of all that, Ray, that's not even to mention like her T10, the emergency thing where it auto procs. That's awesome. I think Ray definitely goes into A tier because A rhymes with Ray. I'm gonna deliberately put Ray behind Charon because in my opinion, I think Charon is a better operator. I know you might disagree. They both function very similarly in the regard that they can both go invisible. However, the playstyles could not be more different. Like, whereas Charon has the perma invisibility, or at least until you decloak manually, Ray is limited to 2 seconds, so you have to be really stealthy of where you pick and choose to cloak, decloak. And I think it's definitely harder to do. And, experienced Charon players, I know, like, I've heard Pure say that, he plays Charon very often. He doesn't play Ray that much, I think, but he, I think, also agrees that playing Ray is just way different because it's just a different skill set and playstyle overall. But yeah, that's my opinion. I would say Charon's better than Ray. And let's move on. All right, Rick. So Rick is interesting, I guess. I don't know. He's one of those ops that just got a very, very minimum ability boost. Plus 30% pistol damage. Cool, I guess. It's kind of nice because it also came out with Dirty Anton, but Dirty Anton is like kind of... I like Dirty Anton, but admittedly it's kind of bad because the movement speed, the fire movement speed is so stupid, okay? Fire movement speed is so slow. So even if you want a couple Ricks plus 30% pistol damage with the Dirty Anton, which it's super strong, okay? It's like stronger per bullet than a Frustrate, I think. So think of it that way, like a pocket Frustrate, but with the limited movement speed. I don't know. Just overall, I don't really know what to feel about Rick. Like, he could have potential to be like a pretty strong like shield abuser, especially if he's properly supported with Injector. But I think Rick, he'll be definitely one of my quicker ranks. I think Rick goes into C tier. In my opinion, Rick is possibly more useful than these guys. And I know I'm being super harsh on Phoenix, but that's just how I feel. Yeah. Moving on. Rookie. Oh. Where do I put him? Do I even have to say anything? So, Rookie hasn't gotten anything. No proven combat skills. But who else? Sorry, hold on. Who else has played Rookie? What other operator has been played more than Rookie? Okay, we've all played Rookie. No other operator can boast that they have a 100% play rate. Because when you start the game, who do you play as? Rookie. That's right, okay? Everyone has played Rookie. That means Rookie must be the best. That's right. Add one row above. There we go. He gets his own tier. Obviously, hands down the best. Don't at me, okay? If anyone else says anything differently, you're wrong. Moving on. Alright, moving on. She... Alright, okay, she is kind of interesting. So he has a minus 50% machine spin-up time. So... Okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. I'm actually still not sure what that entirely entails, but basically what I think it does is it's kind of equivalent to plus 50, almost like a plus 50% aim speed for machine gun, but it's not necessarily that. So basically it's like the rev up time, so how long it takes to get accurate for any of your machine guns. I think I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen many people play Shi at all, and I just don't think he's that useful overall. Like, yeah, if you're like a ride or die roto player, then maybe he could be useful and like actually pretty good. But I think all things considered, he's just not that useful, you know? I could be wrong. Like maybe we'll have a Shi meta in like a few months or so, but who knows? But for the time being, I really don't know what to think about him. Because of that, I think I'm just gonna put him in, honestly, D tier. Because I think the guys in C tier are still more useful than Shi, in my opinion. So I think that's how I'm going to put it as. Moving on. Oh my god, Snek, what did they do to my boy? My channel mascot. Snek is the only epic operator, I believe, that had actively received a nerf during the operator overhaul. So whereas he originally had plus 30% movement speed and aim speed, and plus 10% vision range. Well, the vision range hasn't changed, sorry. So, yeah, he originally had the plus 20%. Sorry, goddammit. One take, let's go. He originally had plus 30% movement speed and aim speed, but now they nerfed him to a plus 20% movement speed and aim speed, which I believe is equivalent to what Hawk used to believe, I think. What he used to be, I think. So... ultimately, this really doesn't hurt Snek that much, in my opinion. I don't know if they did much to his health. I think they did touch his health a bit, but even then, the main thing with Snek is Very proficient long-range gameplay. Snipers, maybe a frustrate, but I prefer AW on Snek if I'm playing it. Or of course, if you just want to be that guy, you can just play Snek SMS. And let's be honest, if any of you guys have played Snek SMS since the operator overhaul, just say it. It hasn't done anything to SMS. It's exactly the same. It literally feels exactly the same. Like shoot speed, firing speed wise, it feels exactly the same. I don't think there's any tangible difference in the firing speed, etc. Obviously, the movement speed has taken a hit. That's somewhat noticeable. But other than that, and I'm sure that's probably the main reason why they wanted to reduce Snek stuff, is to make him less SMS viable. But that didn't really do much, in my opinion. Yeah, his AW gameplay is still really good. I think it's definitely very useful, the Snek AW, to counter some JB frustrates, because you can outrange them if possible. And even if you don't necessarily outrange them, you can, what's the word? You can out-aim speed them 100%. So I think Snek still has a niche in that regard. And of course, if you're playing Snek SMS, but I digress. Snek's abilities are also great. T6s are just kind of meh. Like the super weapon marks enemies, that's useful. You can possibly catch Charons or Rays, that's awesome. Or if you're playing Sniper, more often than not, you should have the crouch fire rate and movement speed talent. But I think where Snek really has gained popularity in the past, since the advent of talents, I think since the past, God, I don't remember how long talents have been out. But having an invisible airstrike is crazy. It is so strong. You would think it's oh, I'll never get hit by it. It's so big, and I'm not gonna get hit by that. You will get hit by it. It is crazy. So you more or less unless you're really keen on the sounds, which they're pretty evident, the sounds of the airstrike, etc. You're gonna get hit by them, and it's always crazy. And there's always some kind of airstrike glitch that there's always some kind of airstrike glitch that messes with you and it just kills you or whatever. But invisible airstrike, Snek, his skill set with SMS, AW, he's still great. I wouldn't say he's S tier, but I definitely say, God, I don't know where to rank him in. Yeah, I think I'll put him in top of S tier. Yeah. Oh, it's the top of A tier, sorry. I think that's fair. You can make the arguments that any of these operators below him could be better, but I'm not really going regards of 1v1 capacity. I'm just kind of, well, again, this is my opinion, so, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Alright, let's move on. To Spencer. So I actually I'm a big fan of what Spencer has received. So on the surface level, it just seems kind of underwhelming. Plus 30% accuracy, plus an increased movement speed when not close to an enemy. That's basically the inverse of Klaus, I believe, whereas Klaus has increased movement speed when close to an enemy, Spencer has the opposite. When not close to an enemy, he has increased movement speed. Yeah, just looking at it, it doesn't seem that great, but actually, if you play with it, more often than not, you're not near enemies. So you get the benefit of the pretty much a permanent increase in movement speed, which is really, really strong and really, really fast. And the accuracy, he got Joe's ability. So they stripped Joe away and gave it to Spencer, and he's pretty good with it. Actually, what's pretty good you can run with him is frustrate. So you can maintain that the area, the radius distance. That way you maintain your movement speed. But with frustrate, you can maintain it. You can keep people at bay, and with the increased accuracy, your frustrate shots will be more online. So you're getting accurate, mobile, highly mobile frustrate shots, and you're just, yeah, I don't know. I think Spencer, in my opinion, I think Spencer could be better than Hawk. or like any of these three operators particularly. Maybe Hawk is the best, and then Spencer, then Jason. I think we'll go with that. Spencer definitely in B tier. I don't think he is quite ascended to A tier just quite yet. Maybe like when you get more stars and health on him, he could definitely, because it's almost like JB Joe-esque, but like that increased movement speed is nothing to laugh at. It is really, really powerful. I think that's a fair placement, just like a high B tier for now. Let's move on. Syndrome. So Syndrome, I'm sure most of us are fans of. I'm also a fan of Syndrome. I think, you know, he's very simple to like explain as well. So minus 30% damage received from bullets and melee. So and he has slow regeneration. I almost wish that they removed the slow regeneration, and then Syndrome. Well, he was broken before, so maybe they shouldn't do that. But if they did, that would have been so cool, because he would have been so strong again. And I don't know. Like, admittedly, I wasn't around when Syndrome was wreaking havoc in the early game, early life cycle of Tacticool. But I heard stories, and it was horrendous to see, just seeing old videos and whatnot. But I do think Syndrome could possibly have a new resurgence in life because of the normalization of health. So perhaps if we get him to 100 T10 or 100 T9, whatever, he could probably actually go toe-to-toe with some of the higher end like epics or whoever because of the health normalization, I think. Other than that, I haven't played with him super extensively recently, but maybe when I get him higher up, I could try him out, see how he fares up. I don't think he doesn't win 1v1 against Moses, I think, because, you know, Moses has the afterlife, so Moses guaranteed like wins anything. That being said, Moses is still behind Miro in my opinion because of Flash. But Syndrome, I think with the normalization of health plus the decreased damage to melee and bullets, he's B tier in my opinion. I'll put him ahead of Jason, but honestly, I think Hawk and Spencer are better potential-wise. Could be wrong, but I'll go with that. Alright, let's move on to Thor. So Thor is really interesting. Thor has the ability where if he reveals enemies on hit, and a plus 15% vision and fire range. So reveals enemies when hit. So basically he pings them like a Diana would. Not to the same degree, because whereas Diana has a circumferential pinging radius, Thor's pinging ability is only dependent on whether or not you hit shots. So I've seen people, and also if you couple the vision range plus the fire range, oh my god, you can shoot people with an AW from miles away. Like, I haven't tested it yet, but like, I almost imagine you could shoot them from their spawn, from spawn to spawn. That might be a bit excessive, but like, his vision range is crazy. I've also seen some people like SK told me to maybe try him out with XL20, so that'll be very interesting as well, because you basically you just outrange anyone with XL20, and it's kind of GG. But you know, again, I haven't played extensively with Thor, so I don't really have any strong opinions either which way. I do think it'll be very interesting, like his potential play. But for the time being, I think Thor will just get kind of like a C tier. I do think the potential for usability is higher than these guys down here. So I think Thor gets a C tier. Yeah, it was pretty short, so I don't really have much to say about him. Moving on, Travis. Oh boy, definitely one of the more interesting and unique loadouts and ability reworks that we've received. So Travis gets a sprint mechanic instead of dash. So the sprint, you get increased movement speed for 3 seconds. He throws mines, and he has a minus 50% mine cooldown. So let's start with the sprint. So yeah, replaces dash. Okay, cool. But basically, you have a pocket adrenaline nearly any time you want. Not any time. There is a cooldown, but it's really interesting because of that pocket adrenaline mechanic. Because you can essentially you go 1v1 against Chen Li's, full balls to the wall, rushing, provided that you sprint, not adrenaline, and you can go full aggro against like a Chen or whoever and not run the risk of getting adrenaline or tased because of adrenaline. So that's really interesting in that regard, and I think as people get more higher level Travises, I think that will be the avenue that people might go. But that's not to understate the throwing mines abilities too, because the throwing mines is crazy. You know, it's cool, like, you know, it's like it has funny potential with throwing mines and killing people with that, but throwing mines is just more useful because you can stay active while placing mines down. And of course the minus 50% mine cooldown allows you to spam mines like no one's business, okay? Like, you thought mine spam was bad before, just wait until you go against like Travis mine spam. Like, you look away for like 30 seconds, oh god, look, now there's like 5 mines everywhere. Okay, maybe not exactly, but Travis does have the potential to really lock down areas with proper mine spam. And never mind, like, imagine like you had more than one Travis just doing all that shit. Oh god, can't imagine. But again, I also haven't played extensively with Travis, so I have no feelings like strongly either which way, but I do understand his potential. So I think Travis also goes into B tier. I think Travis goes ahead of, oh shit, I might even put him ahead of Jason. I'll put Travis ahead of Jason for now. Nah, Jason gets ahead. Yep, I think that'll be fine in B tier. Alright, let's move on. Valera. So Valera, I think he also took a hit with the operator overhaul rework. Matter of fact, I think a lot of rares took a kind of bad hit, if I'm being honest. You know, like, am I wrong? Like, except for David, I think everyone else, and Syndrome, of course, I think everyone else took a hit to their somewhat viability. Whereas rares were kind of like baby epics before, now they're just kind of meh. You know, and Valera's no exception to this. So he gets increased fire rate when at low health. Okay, cool. Also, this is interesting for Valera. He gets 50% health when killing an enemy. That's very interesting. And he also has an improved dodge for some reason. So let's start with the increased fire rate. Again, I'm not a fan of any of the health-based abilities because they're just kind of inconsistent, you know? And okay, so in order to utilize the fire rate, you would ideally have to be close to someone. But if you're low health and if you're low health in order to get the fire rate, yeah, I could see that being the last final push you need to get the kill in order to restore 50% of your health, which these abilities synergize pretty decently with one another. But I think in actuality, like, it just doesn't work out that well. I think perhaps if they let Valera keep his original plus 35% fire rate, you know, the baby Dutch, in addition to all of this, then I think Valera would be a lot more useful. But because when he's at full health, basically, when he's at full health, not in the low health range to get the additional fire rate, he's just like a very standard operator. There's nothing really that special about him. Yeah, he has improved dodge as well, but this, you know. I think where Valera has a great potential is with the restoring 50% health when killing an enemy. I think he has crazy potential in that regard. And I'm just going to say, I've messed around with a Valera Capisce, and It works decently. Of course, like any Capisce that's not Miro falls to the same pitfalls of like, oh, you get flash super easily, so that's really annoying. But think of it, like Capisce has the ability to kill instantly. And when you kill instantly, especially with Valera, you get your health back. So he has the potential to like just sweep through people, in my opinion. Especially if they're not adequately prepared, such as like with flashes or, I mean, yeah, flashes are pretty much the only thing. But until we see that, I think aside from that one niche usage, I think Valera, okay, could be better if he had the plus 35% fire rate still, but unfortunately that's not the case. I think in that regard he'll go into C tier. He's better than Rick, I think, because of the potential. Better than Mishka as well, I think, because of the potential to regain health. Because he's the only one aside from Ray that has like active health regenning abilities type. Well, no, I think that's fair. All right, moving on. We're going to Varg. So Varg is, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of this. I think it's, for lack of better words, it's kind of dumb. Like, okay, release a cloud of smoke and speeds up for 3 seconds when at low health. Cooldown of 10 seconds. So, okay. So basically he has like a smoke screen that pops when he's at low health. That'd be interesting and maybe useful if he had also like thermal vision, like Miro, but I could see where that gets a little overpowered perhaps. But it's just not that useful, I think. Like, I haven't seen or thought of anything like remotely useful regarding Varg. And what's even worse is with the operator rework, like Varg used to be a baby Snek. You know, he had the plus 30% aim speed, and movement speed, but now he doesn't have any of that. So you can't even possibly use Varg as like a sniper support, and then if you get popped for too many shots, you release your smoke and then retreat back. That'd be good, but he doesn't have that ability anymore, so he's not as useful as a sniper. Where I do think Varg could have some possible potential is that increased health regen ability. I think that's really interesting, but that's not enough to save him, in my opinion. I think all of that combined, like, it's just still bleh. Varg, he's going into D tier. It's not the lowest. I think she might honestly be the lowest, in my opinion. That might be a garbage take, but yeah. All right, let's move on. Last two operators, guys. Boy, oh boy, I've been talking for ages. I'm gonna have to edit a bunch of this down. All right, Victor. So Victor gets a boost with the fun rating as well. Those of you that haven't seen it, first of all, I don't know where you've been. You know, like, I've done it before, and Foxy Diabolic has done it extensively. Victor gets plus 50% movement speed when reloading. Okay. And also minus 30% damage from bullets when not moving. So that's interesting too, but I'll talk about the first ability first. So the plus 50% movement speed when reloading, that applies to any of the reloading. So in particularly injector. So if you inject a teammate, you can run like hell. Oh my god, you're running so fast, and it's so crazy. Like, you're zipping across the screen. It is so funny seeing Boris, like, not Boris, sorry, Victor cracked up and just like zipping. So it's really fun, but it also has some potential because, you know, fast movement speed and being able to be highly mobile and getting around, it does have its own merit. I don't know exactly what it could do. Like, definitely, like, if you're to retaking the bag from an enemy, and if you have to quickly get back to your base, let's say like an overtime to close off the, like, widen the gap, 100% Victor is your way to go. Take the bag on Victor, boost your teammate, zip back to your base, GG, overtime over. But I don't know how much of it is like viable rather than just a gimmick. I think it's leaning more towards gimmicky, but where he regains some viability is perhaps with the minus 30% damage from bullets when not moving. That's pretty cool, because basically what that is that's Moses's T10 anointed, I think, ability, but Victor just gets that as a baseline ability. That's cool. That's crazy. So I think Victor could have some potential as like a stationary roto turret type thing. Or possibly even with XO 300, because XO 300 you have to stay still. So just if you deploy XO 300 with Victor, you'll get that base minus 30% from bullets. So I think that'll be really interesting. I haven't played it extensively, but that could be something to note. But, you know, his movement speed's fun. It's Mimi, and yeah. I think Victor... I don't... Me personally, I think he'll go into like the top of C tier. He could go into B tier, definitely not A or S or rookie god tier, but that's just my opinion. Maybe Diabolic would disagree, but that's just my opinion. All right, move on. Last but not least, here we go. Zloy. So Zloy, largely unchanged, you know, minus 70% melee damage taken, gas immune, improved dodge, and he has a special A232. Yeah, Zloy, I love Zloy. I think he's very, very useful. Of course, he falls into the pitfalls as like some operators such as Charon, Ray, you know, those operators that get nullified by EMP, and definitely EMP hurts Zloy crazily. But the potential for his gas is super strong. Like if you are not ready and not prepared for Zloy, or any gas for that matter, it can get quickly overwhelming very fast, and you will lose the game if you're not prepared for it. I don't know what else to say about Zloy. You know, it's like he's good. You know, I think his talents provide a fair amount and good amount of longevity as well, provided that he's not EMP'd. But yeah, if you run into enemies that just happen to not have EMPs, you're in for a good time. You know, Zloy is also pretty useful regarding like loadout variability. I think he can run a good amount of things, but I think the loadout that I'm most partial to, and I think most people probably would be like the OG, the classic Zloy shotgun gas taser. I think that's a pretty solid loadout, pretty tried and true. And despite the EMP nerfing the A232 to an extent, I think it's still a very, very solid loadout that you can play and can do some damage. I might be forgetting stuff, but I think Zloy, also goes into A tier, but maybe perhaps the bottom of A tier. Sorry, Zloy, but I don't think he's in B tier. But yeah. Anyways, guys, that's I don't know. That's my opinion on the current operator tier list. So you have, you know, rookie god, obviously the best. Okay, no one else boasts 100% play rate. Okay, everyone's played it before. But then moving down into the S tier operators, I don't think anyone saw this. I don't think anyone didn't see this coming. Miro, Moses, JB, Chen Li. I think that order within the tier itself is good. That's how I would see it as. Because like Miro can beat pretty much everyone in the same tier and below him because of Flash. He's immune to Flash. The bleed damage from Flash like softens them up, and then you just, for your own teammates or yourself, you know, Moses, if properly supported, or just a competent Moses player, he's not dying. JB, amazing. I put him ahead of Chen Li again because the current meta loadout, the Frustrate, can pop Chen Li from miles away. And then Chen Li, of course, always good. A tier, I think that's pretty I think I'm pretty happy with that as well. I don't think there are any disagreements, I think. B tier, I think that's all pretty solid. C tier and D tier. But anyways, guys, if you guys, let me know what your thoughts on with my tier list. Anything I got quote unquote wrong or right, let me know. Or where would you guys put operators? I would love to hear your opinions as well. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this probably long video, because I don't know how long I've been doing this recording for, but I'm gonna have to edit it down if possible. So we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've done so much talking. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys for the next video. See you guys.